We'll call the Planning Commission meeting of July 22nd, 2022 to order. Roll call.
Hannah here. Hannah here.
Grillo here.
Krasinski here.
Warwick here.
Guzikowski here.
Shepherd here.
Hannah here.
Brings us to item 3, approval of the minutes from July 22nd, 2022. They should be included in your packet if anybody has any corrections, omissions, or anything. If not, I'll look for a motion.
Shepherd moves to approve the minutes of July 12th, 2022.
Guzikowski will second.
Roll call beginning with Commissioner Hannah.
Hannah, aye.
Grillo, aye. Krasinski, aye.
Lorick, aye.
Guzikowski, aye.
Shepherd, aye.
Item 4, significant common council actions. Carrie.
Council approved the following: an ordinance approving a rezone of the property at 1190 West Rawson Avenue from B3 Office and Professional Business and M1 Manufacturing to M1 Manufacturing. An ordinance to approve a rezone of the property at 7030 South 13th Street from B2 Community Business and B3 Office and Professional Business to B3 Office and Professional Business. A resolution approving a certified survey map submitted by Anil Yapuri for the properties at 9102, 9120, and 9140 South 27th Street was held per request by the applicant. Council approved a resolution adopting sewer pack planning report number 330, a restoration plan for the Oak Creek watershed. A resolution approving the Stonebrook on the Park development agreement with Jansen Bruckner LLC for the design and construction of public improvements for the development located at 7943, 7912, 7942, 8034, and 8031 South Quincy Avenue. And a resolution approving the Tsunami Car Wash development agreement with Tsunami Car Wash Intermediate Holdco LLC for the design and construction of public improvements for the development located at 140 West Putes Road. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Item 5 is a Board of Housing and Zoning Appeal actions. There were none. Item 6, quarterly Parks and Recreation Commission actions. The next report will be September 22nd of 2022. That brings us to new business. Item 7A, it's a certified survey map. Review a certified survey map submitted by Danielle Katana, dividing the property at 9630 South Shepherd Avenue.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a request to divide the property on the screen, and it is to create 2 single-family lots. Lot 1 is already developed with an existing single-family residential home and related accessory structures. That's not going to change. However, if at any time in the future that property comes up for redevelopment or any structures are proposed as accessory to the principal, they will have to comply with the required code requirements in effect at the time of the application. Lot 2, which is the proposed new lot, will be accessed off of Wintergreen Avenue or Wintergreen Drive, and they will also be required to comply with the code requirements in place at the time of development. On the screen right now is the proposed certified survey map showing that dividing line, basically creating 2 exactly equal lots. You will notice that Lot 2 includes a building envelope. Staff is actually recommending that the building envelope be removed simply because we do not know whether or not those particular setbacks are going to apply to any particular development. At the time it becomes ready for development, then it would have to comply with whatever code requirements are in place at the time. So again, whether it's the principal structure or any accessory structures, that 10-foot setback on either side may or may not be relevant. However, the 30-foot setback will still be relevant, so we keep requesting that the 30-foot setback to Wintergreen Drive remain, but the remaining building envelope just be removed. As a point of reference, laterals will need to be extended to serve Lot 2, and a grading plan will also be required at the time of a building permit application submitted for development of Lot 2. With that in mind, there is a suggested motion for approval for Plan Commission consideration on the screen. Mr. Chair.
Thank you. The applicant is in attendance. He indicated prior to the meeting that he would wait for any questions from the commission. So we'll go right to the commission. Any Questions, concerns, starting on my left with Commissioner Hannah?
Yes, I have a question. So when we divide that lot, I guess from Wintergreen Drive, are there going to be any lateral for sewer, sanitary, any utilities?
Yeah, they'll have to be extended to serve the property.
Okay, so there will be work on that Wintergreen Drive, right?
There won't be any main required, but laterals will have to be extended to serve the lot in Wintergreen, yeah.
How about the cost? Who would be paying for the cost?
That would be at the developer would be responsible for extending the laterals.
Okay, how about the impact to the road? You have to like kind of excavate in the,
That's all included as part of the development.
okay, all right, that's it, thank you.
Questions, please? Nothing from engineering, thank you.
None for me.
No questions.
And I have no questions or anything to add. So we will look for a motion on item 7A, please.
Super moves that the planning commission recommends to the common council that the certified survey map submitted by Daniel Katona for the property at 9630 South Shepherd Avenue be approved with the following conditions. One, that map is revised to remove the building envelope and zoning district setback. The front setback of 30 feet shall remain on the map. That all technical corrections, including but not limited to spelling errors, minor coordinating, geometric corrections, and corrections required for compliance with the municipal code and Wisconsin statutes are made prior to recording.
Kuzikowski will second.
Roll call beginning with Commissioner Perillo.
Perillo, aye. Kaczynski, aye.
Lorik, aye.
Kuzikowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
And I,
That gets us to item 7B, plan review. Review site building and related plans submitted by Brianna Bradford, Pilot Travel Centers, for modifications to the exterior of the building at 2031 West Ryan Road. Carrie?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is for the Pilot Travel Center. This is the existing kind of gas station, truck stop, and related. There are various zoning districts that affect the property, but the part of the parcel that we are actually concerned with this evening is really just the building and the trash enclosure. So on the screen right now is kind of the existing site plan with one little caveat. It is missing some of the parking and the LNG addition that was approved in 2012. But it's not in the area that we're discussing this evening. Again, exterior modifications to the building, expansion of the existing trash enclosure. So this is what the proposed site plan is for that area. The trash enclosure is on the east side of the building. The expansion will go a little bit more east and south. The trash enclosure itself is proposed to be constructed with similar materials to the building. That's split face CMU in a color to match. And the gates are actually, I think they're 7 feet tall. They're the corrugated metal, so that was acceptable per code. There are 2 personnel gates that are proposed to be about 8 feet tall and about 3.5, a little bit more than that wide. And those are proposed to be chain link. Staff is recommending that approval, even though chain link is not an approved material for trash enclosure gates. And the reason that they're okay is because they're just for personnel access. So they're not for the main gate portion. Within the enclosure itself, there are a couple of items that may be of interest. Instead of traditional dumpsters, we are proposing to have a trash compactor and potentially a cardboard baler. Staff have no concerns for either one of those. However, we do have a concern for the proposed storage container. Outdoor storage is actually a conditional use in the B4 district, and because this is subject to historic planned unit development agreements, it may be prohibited altogether. Now, unfortunately, staff, in researching the historic PUD documents affecting this area, were unable to determine exactly which PUD or PUDs plural would apply. So we are just applying the code section here. And we're just recommending that that storage container be removed right now. If in the future they do request that, it would at least require a conditional use permit if it would be allowed by the PUD at all. On the screen right now are just the elevations for the trash enclosure. The metal gates are the proposed main gates for access, and then the employee gates, which are 8 feet tall with the chain link, which staff again are recommending approval. Turning to the building now, we're going to go a little bit back and forth so you can get an idea of what the exterior modifications to the building includes. This is the existing north elevation, so this is what's seen behind the fueling canopy from Ryan Road. This is what the actual front facade looks like. They are proposing to remove all the existing metal awnings on the building. So this is kind of a before and after. This also includes the expansion of the trash enclosure, which you can see on the left-hand side of the screen, which is east orientation of the building. They are proposing to replace the existing vinyl siding with Nichiha siding. That's fiber cement. Also proposing to do some stucco infill in certain locations, for instance, above and below the windows on this elevation and in certain areas elsewhere on the elevations to the south, basically underneath where the windows were. They are also proposing to remove several windows. If you'll notice this before, there are groupings of windows that are going to be removed and infilled. Now, this is part of the interior renovations as well, which is part of the reason why some of these windows are actually being removed in entirety rather than being replaced. One of the windows that's to remain will actually be replaced with spandrel as well. Now, even though there are signs shown on the building, signs are not part of this review. Part of the reason that signs are not included, we don't have the exact details. We do have some dimensions on here, but there are some requirements for signs that these don't meet. We don't allow cabinet signs for one, the number of signs, et cetera. So we're just not including that in tonight's review. So if you could kind of ignore that for now. Also choosing to paint the existing CMU on the rest of the elevations, including the north elevation, the doors, the metal roof, and electrical cabinets, kind of going with an updated color scheme. All the other windows on all other elevations, with the exception of the driver entrance on the south, which we'll get to, those are also proposed to be removed. With the exception of some gooseneck lights above the windows on the north, on the east side, and some lighting wall packs on the remaining elevations. There are no other lighting changes to the site. So turning now to the east elevation, this is existing, but it doesn't include the existing trash enclosure wall. Just keep that in mind when you look at the proposed east, which does include the trash enclosure wall. You'll note that it does match the scheme, the color, the materials, and it kind of just blends in. This is the existing south, so this is where the diesel canopy is. This is the existing, this will be the driver's entrance. I believe it is the driver's entrance right now. And this is what it'll be proposed to look like. Now, those metal gates, again, are the south elevation of that trash enclosure. No signs at this point. Turning to the final elevation, the existing west, which kind of faces interior to the site, there's some landscaping that extends beyond the parking. And this is what the proposed west looks like. Essentially removing the metal awnings and painting and doing a little bit of infill, some work there. Included in your packets, but not included in the presentation, were some replacements to the rooftop mechanical units. They are proposed to be and appear to be pretty much screened by the existing roof element. Anything that would extend beyond that would have to be looked at and screened properly. But in terms of the location and what appears to be right now, it does appear that those replacement units will be screened as well. With that in mind, there is a suggested motion for Plan Commission consideration with a couple of conditions. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We'll go right to commission, starting on my right with Commissioner Sieber.
I have no questions at this time.
Alderman Guzekowski,
None here.
Commissioner Kupczynski,
No questions, thank you.
Commissioner Carrillo,
Oh, it looks really good.
and Commissioner Hannah.
Yes, actually, I do have a question. Can you go to the slide where you had the revised or the proposed elevation for the main entrance, where you have the pilot sign? Yes. On the left side, I see you have those windows, the light on the windows on the left side. On the right side, where you have subway and those signs, are there going to be any lighting on this end?
It does not appear that there are any exterior wall pack lights or gooseneck lights on that side. There are no windows for them to be placed above them. Now, what this doesn't include are any of the parking lot lights that are already out there or the canopy lights. So, as far as this elevation is concerned, no, the only decorative lighting are above the windows. Now, that entry canopy may also have some recessed lighting underneath it that's not reflected in here as well.
Yeah, because maybe that's why I didn't consider the lot lighting versus the building one. It's going to be seem like it's lit on the left side versus the right side, especially if you have the subway sign and some other lights to kind of attract visitors that there is food there. That's pretty much all, but maybe it's not shown at this time yet.
So there may be some additional illumination that's just not reflected in this particular elevation rendering. The applicant is being represented by Zoom, and she did just do a Q&A chat that said that there was illumination there.
Okay.
Again, keep in mind that there is a fueling canopy that is in front of the building that will provide additional spillover lighting. There's additional parking lot lighting. It's just not reflected on the building.
Okay, great. Thanks.
And I have nothing else to add, no questions. It'll be a nice upgrade, I think, when it's done. So with that, we will look for a motion on 7B.
And I move that the Plan Commission approve sites, building and related plans submitted by Brianna Bradford, Pilot Travel Centers for the property at 2031 West Ryan Road with the following conditions. 1, that all relevant code requirements remain in effect. 2, that landscape plans are submitted in conformance with all code requirements. 3, that all light sources are shielded and directed downward, that the color temperature of the fixtures are limited to a maximum of 5,000 kelvins. All mechanical equipment, transformers, and utility boxes, ground, building, and rooftop shall be screened from view. 5, that all revised plans are submitted in digital format for review and approval by the Department of Community Development prior to the submission of permit applications.
Guzekowski, second.
Roll call, beginning with Commissioner Kupczynski.
Kupczynski, aye.
Lorik, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
And I.
Grillo, aye.
That will conclude the meeting, so we'll look for, and pending any announcements from anybody, we'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Grillo moves to adjourn at 6:19.
Seifert seconds.
Roll call, beginning with myself, Lorik, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Seifert, aye.
And I.
Grillo, aye.
Kupczynski, aye.
Thank you.